This week in East Brunswick, we have a special consumer spot on low and moderate income housing planned for East Brunswick. We'll see a few slides from a presentation made by Cause to the Wheelabrator Slides Steering Committee. And we'll close with a brief look at some photos featured on display this month at the library. Also, immediately following tonight's news will be Mayor Fox's State of the Township address from Monday night's council meeting. But first, Wednesday night at Chittick School was the scene of one of the largest Board of Education meetings in recent memory. Over 600 parents, teachers, and students were present to express their views on charges that recent occurrences at the high school were illegal, obscene, and pornographic. Incidents specifically addressed were portions of the high school variety show, the serving of champagne at a basketball team dinner, and the showing of an R-rated movie in a sociology class.
The topic of the senior variety show, the partial showing of an R-rated movie in a classroom, and the occurrences at a school function be presented in tonight's public discussion section, as we students recognize the importance of freedom of speech and expression in our society. I have been taught that these two freedoms are vital points of our American heritage, and it is the responsibility of every citizen to protect these aspects of our society. Censorship, on the other hand, should not be permitted in any society, and there is a fine line between when a small group of citizens voices its own opinion and when a small group of citizens tries to impose its morals upon an entire community. Unfortunately, there is a small group of citizens in tonight's audience that is trying to impose its morals on our school district. In response to these issues, and with President Seiden's permission, I would like to yield the rest of my time to Quentin Brode, the Student Council President.
Thank you, Dr. Seiden. Over the past couple of weeks, the East Brunswick school system has come under the fire of a small community group, and there will be individuals here tonight who inevitably will make allegations which will attempt to portray the East Brunswick school system in a negative light. However, as Student Council President in our Township High School, I intend to gear my comments towards the positive rather than the negative tonight. I'm quite fortunate in the fact that because of my position on the Student Council, I've had the opportunity to visit several different New Jersey high schools and have had the opportunity to talk to many of the students and to many of the faculty members of those schools. It is in part because of these opportunities to visit other schools that I hold the East Brunswick education system in such high regard. I have found my fellow students to be highly responsible individuals, guided by highly trained and professional teachers and administrators. The amount of students and teachers present in this room tonight is representative of their deep concern for the welfare of the school system. It is this deep concern which makes the high quality of education in East Brunswick what it is today. It is this deep concern which would prompt a teacher to agree to become a class advisor, or any type of advisor for that matter. They certainly don't do it for the pay, which works out to be about 30 cents per hour. They do it because they care about kids and they care about keeping up the quality of education in our town. It is quite unfortunate that, because of this entire affair, teachers in the future will be hesitant to volunteer their time to become a class advisor, yet who could blame them? We in East Brunswick have an education system which we can be truly proud of. I can only hope that those who come after me have available to them the same experience and learning materials that I had. In order to provide them with these resources, however, we must conquer the threat which is being posed to the high quality of education in East Brunswick.
Continuing to emphasize the positive aspects of student life, National Honor Society President Jerry Sorkin enumerated various other activities students are often involved in.
And the March of Dimes. And they take part in the Hand in Hand Festival for the Handicapped every year at Middlesex County College. Students serve on many community organizations, including the East Brunswick Youth Services Commission and the Commission on Aging. These are a few examples of the kinds of activities which people take part in, the students at East Brunswick High School. I could go on with this list all evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is East Brunswick High School. This is an example of a school undergoing moral decay. Then, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to let the decay continue.
The majority of comments at the meeting ran strongly in favor of the attitudes, philosophies, and freedoms in the school system. Resident Jay Elkins expressed his feelings.
East Brunswick High School students have fought in wars, gone to Ivy League universities, have ended up business people, scientists, parents, politicians, professors, athletes, and clergymen. The notion that so many people have worked so hard the last 25 years or so to educate students by immoral means is an absurdity beyond description. My older brother was a graduate of the class of '64 and was the first East Brunswick High School student to die in the Vietnam War, for which the town chose to name a road after him. I find it difficult to believe that someone such as he would use the same criteria to evaluate that it would be worth it to die, perhaps needlessly, for a cause he believed in, and that the teachers he regarded so highly in high school, who are still there, were part of an immoral system. Thank you.
The Reverend Robert Boyce of the Old Bridge Baptist Church, who has spearheaded the movement that has labeled the high school situation a moral crisis, spoke next.
Three issues that I have outlined are, to me, symptomatic of a moral problem in our schools. If anyone here doubts there's a real problem in our schools, they only need to listen to the tape on my answering machine and the comments of some of the students. I am not seeking to degenerate the entire student body, because some, while disagreeing with me, have been polite and they have been gracious. Others, however, leave a sad impression on the quality of the education they are receiving. Indeed, I had cause to wonder if they have ever learned to speak the English language without dipping into the gutter to find ways of expressing themselves. If this is what they are hearing in the classroom, and I hear reports that some of the same is used by at least one principal, then the crisis is deeper than we first feared. On the subject of the film shown or about to be shown, I will point out something. We are not talking about one film. I understand that one teacher in a grammar school was about to show the film 9 to 5, which I understand is an adult movie, to a 4th grade class. It was only after one parent objected that the idea was dropped. Hollywood films are not made for educational purposes, and we recognize the tendency of such films to exaggerate life, thus destroying what little educational value they might possess. On the liquor issue, I would first of all point out that the law is very explicit. It does not say that minors may drink if their parents permit it. To begin with, to do such things at a school function is sending a message to the student. Namely, the law is there, but it's all right to break it if you wish. Those who defend even the giving of a small amount of an alcoholic beverage to a minor have never stood at the bedside of a teenager with a body crushed and broken and barely alive, all because someone told him a little alcohol would never hurt anyone. I have been in just such a position. Every alcoholic started out with just one small drink. On the matter of the variety show, the evidence speaks for itself. There are those here who will list for the board things that they found objectionable. I question why, if some of the administration, who now admit there were items that were objectionable, if these people were in attendance, why did they not stop them? I find that the statement that the bad parts were ad-libbed rather hard to swallow. The very fact that the same things were repeated 2, and in most cases 3 nights, speaks of a practiced routine. The final authority must be the board. You must set down guidelines. You must recognize that, like it or not, Morality, or the lack of it, is being taught every day in our schools, both by precept and by example. If there are no guidelines, then we are asking that they be set and fully publicized so that everyone, parents, teachers, students, and residents, will be aware of them. Then, and only then, if these guidelines are ignored, it becomes the duty of this board to take administrative action against those who violate them. I thank you.
Also discussed at the meeting was the issue of the closing of Irwin School to balance the Board of Education budget. After each member of the board spoke, a vote was taken and the motion to close Irwin School was passed. For more discussion on the school morality issue, we'll now join Rhea in the studio.
Hello, I'm Rhea. You have just seen footage from Wednesday night's meeting of the Board of Education. Hundreds of high school students and their parents came to rebut charges by Reverend Robert Boyce of the Old Bridge Baptist Church that our schools are in the midst of a moral crisis. 3 incidents led him to this opinion. Champagne was served to students at a high school sports dinner. Part of An Officer and a Gentleman, an R-rated film, was shown to an 11th grade sociology class. And the recent senior variety show, which had several scenes that he considered offensive. I have with me today Dr. David Seiden, President of the Board of Education, and Reverend Boyce of the Old Bridge Baptist Church. The church, by the way, is in East Brunswick in the Historic District, not in Old Bridge as some people have thought. Dr. Seiden, could you tell me, now that we've had all the fuss, we've been on television, on ABC News, CBS News, and newspapers up and down the East Coast, will this have any effect on the Board of Education or their policies?
Frankly, I think not. The Board of Education already has and has had for quite some time now policies in place that pertain to selection of instructional material, adoption of curriculum, adoption of instructional material, textbooks, media, films, and so forth. Those policies are in place. The policies also provide for the opportunity for members of the community to object to material. There is a procedure through which citizens can bring their objections to the attention of the staff and to the administration and to the board if there are any objections to any of these materials. I don't see any need for any modification of those policies. I think it's important that everybody recognizes that those policies in fact do exist and can be utilized in a reasonable manner. As I indicated at the Board of Education meeting, I don't anticipate, in fact there's absolutely no indication that there'll be any disciplinary action or personnel action or anything else of that sort flowing from these recent events. So I frankly don't expect to see any change at the Board of Education.
Reverend Boyce, you had an ad last week in the Sentinel newspaper asking for people to come out and support you. There were hundreds of people there. There must have been at least 600 people at Chittick School last night for the meeting. And except for you and Mrs. Ogden, who brought all these matters to your attention in the first place, I didn't hear anybody get up and speak on your behalf. Were you surprised or disappointed?
I won't say I was disappointed. Really, the ad was intended to get the people out, not so much to get support for ourselves, but to get people thinking about this issue. Actually, there was one other girl that did speak for us, possibly who had gone by that time. She's a student at Rutgers University and a graduate of East Brunswick High School. And actually, her brother had taught at East Brunswick High School also. He's now a teacher in Philadelphia at one of the colleges. But I felt that we were there for a purpose. I did not expect all this hassle that we've got. This has been beyond what I ever expected. When the incident first happened, I called Dr. Sweeney, and actually what happened, I had called him about the liquor incident, and then the variety show came after that. Most people don't know the history of the thing. And I finally got a hold of him after the variety show, and we discussed it. He's a real gentleman, and we had a real good discussion on the whole thing, and I told him we were going to be at the meeting. And then several people made it clear that there ought to be others there, so I put that ad in the paper to get people there. I apparently was very effective in that.
Dr. Siden, did you see the show?
No, I did not.
You didn't see the variety show?
No, I did not.
Did you?
No, I didn't, but I understand there's a tape of it.
Where is this tape?
That's what I'd like to know.
I'm unaware of the tape.
A tape of the whole show?
One of the people that was there tell me that they were taping it. Now, where it is, I don't know.
So you got your information secondhand? Well, we all did, really. I didn't see it either.
Right.
What do you think of what you've heard, at least, of the variety show and of the serving of champagne at the dinner?
Well, let me deal with the serving of champagne at the dinner first. It's illegal. There's no question that it's illegal. I don't think anybody was intending to do something wrong or break the law. This is an annual event. This annual sports dinner that the basketball team has is an event that's been going on for many years. It has become a tradition over those many years to have a toast to the graduating seniors on the team and to the graduating seniors among the cheerleaders. And as I understand it, I've never participated in that dinner. As I understand it, approximately a tablespoon of champagne is provided to the members of the team to participate in this symbolic toast. I don't think that it is worthy of the level of excitement that it has generated, but nonetheless it is illegal. These students are below the drinking age, and that can't be disputed, and therefore it should not continue. Perhaps the tradition started when the drinking age was younger, I don't know. But whether it was done in the past or not, or whether it was right in the past or not, is really besides the point. It is illegal, and obviously a school system can't condone illegal activities, and therefore it will not occur again. As far as the senior variety show is concerned, as I said, I didn't see it, so I would be reacting to secondhand reports from people that I know who were there. As I understand it, there were acts in there that could be considered to be offensive to some people, and I respect the fact that people could be offended by it. Nothing that I have been told in terms of people repeating what they saw would I personally consider to be obscene or pornographic. Many of the skits are old-time burlesque skits, skits that have been done by professionals and amateurs alike for decades now. I don't think that that's offensive. I think there are some lessons to be learned, and I think that's good. I think the students who participated did learn a great deal. They learned that what they believe to be perfectly innocent and acceptable to everybody may not be acceptable to everybody, and that's a valuable lesson to be learned. They saw a little bit of democracy in action. They saw people presenting their views and others presenting alternative views. I think that's valuable. I think we shouldn't overlook the value that's come out of all of this, despite the fact that I'm not particularly happy about the publicity, negative publicity that this has generated around the country now pertaining to our township of East Brunswick. But I think some good lessons have come out of it for all.
And Reverend Boyce, do you think your problem is more with society as it is today or the students in the show? Any radio station they put on will play some of the songs that you found offensive, and many television shows that are shown at times that these are young adults. They're awake to watch them. They find it. They said that some of these were taken from television skits they had
Well, I question some of this. Now, maybe on cable, but certainly some of the things that were said now, as Mrs. Ogden heard them, are not on regular television, even on prime time or anything else. Let me tell you this. I spent 9 years outside of this country. When I came back in 1977, I was very shocked by what I heard on the television even then, because when I left the country, you didn't even curse in any way on television. That was a no-no. And of course, FCC has changed its rules and so forth. But I was very shocked then to hear some of the things. But I have never heard what I heard was said, and I can believe it because my tape on my answering machine tells me the same thing, that these kids use these words rather freely.
Were they rude to you?
On the answering machine?
Yes.
Some of them. Now, please don't think all the students are alike. They're not. I told some of them last night, I said, you apparently have got an element in that school. Now, some of them will deny that there are even students of East Brunswick. But these kids said to me, I am a student at East Brunswick High School, and then they'd start their harangue. But there is an element there that obviously thinks that the gutter is the best way to communicate. I don't agree with them, obviously.
Last night, the students that spoke, I found, were very eloquent, and they spoke beautifully. Were you impressed with them?
Very much so. And I want to say this, too. I was impressed when I met them. They were nice to me. They felt that I was wrong, and I felt they were wrong, but we were able, in I would say, a gentlemanly, ladylike way to deal with these things. Unfortunately, the person who was the worst on the tape was a woman or a girl. And I was very, very sad about that. Certainly, I have nothing against the ladies. That's obvious.
You said something interesting before. You believe that this became so blown up because of recent claims that our whole educational system in the country is going downhill.
I think that's exactly it. I was shocked on Monday morning when I got a call from Eyewitness News. I couldn't believe it, you know, that it had gone so far. And then later in the day, I was down in southern Jersey, and I met a friend of mine who's from below Camden, and he told me he'd read about me in the paper. And I automatically, you know, you say, where? And he said, USA Today, which of course is the new newspaper. And it sort of boggled my mind that this thing could go that far.
Do you think it's gone too far?
Absolutely. This is an East Brunswick issue. It's not well, it may be to some people a national issue. But to me, it's an East Brunswick issue. We'll deal with it and then leave it. We can't just go and keep on hassling everybody. You know?
Are you finished now, or do you plan to take this further?
I have no plans to take it any further. If something else comes up, I will certainly write a letter to the board and let them know what I feel. And if necessary, I'll appear at the meeting. I will not put another advertisement in the paper.
What did you think of the way the students spoke last night?
I think the students, particularly the student leaders, were absolutely eloquent. When the first three young men finished speaking, I couldn't contain myself and said that never had I been so proud of the school system. I think a school system and a community who can produce young people such as they are has nothing to be ashamed of. And in fact, ought to be very proud. I think they represent all the best in American youth, and I'm very proud of them. Can
you predict what the next year's senior variety show will be like? You think they'll be
No, but I'm planning to attend.
I think we could all sell tickets for $10 a seat. I want to thank Dr. Seiden and Reverend Voice for being with me today, and thank you for watching This Week in East Brunswick.
On Wednesday night at the library, Tony Nuzzo from CAUSE, which stands for Citizens Against Unsafe Environments, presented a slideshow to the Resource Recovery Steering Committee. The show, which was viewed by the Township Council 2 weeks ago, depicted an operational resource recovery plant similar to the proposed Wheelabrator Fry plant in Gothenburg, Sweden.
Good evening and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Mary Tenaccio, and this evening our program is brought to you with the intention of giving some information from our housing specialist, Mrs. Betty Richter, regarding a major developer that is coming into East Brunswick. In an effort to produce housing for low and moderate income households, township staff have been working with U.S. Homes, a major developer in the area. The homes have been approved by the Planning Board, and they will be developing a 216-acre site off Cranberry Road. Most of the development will be townhouses. Under the East Brunswick Town Green Ordinance, developers are allowed greater densities if they make a prescribed percentage of those units affordable to low or moderate income households. U.S. Home is using this bonus density and will be building 43 units for low or moderate income buyers. Maximum income guidelines have been established by the township. Minimum eligible income will be calculated by the developer based on qualifying the buyer for financing. Mortgage principal and interest payments, taxes, and insurance. Principal and interest payments are a function of the sales price, the down payment, and the mortgage interest rate. U.S. Homes will be holding open meetings regarding this building on Tuesday, March 17th at 8:00 p.m. in the library. Rooms 1, 2, and 3 will be available for this meeting. At that time, they will provide information on specifications of the townhouses, the sale price, availability, and financing. Remember, if you are interested in this developer and in low and moderate income housing, the meeting will be Tuesday, May 17th at 8:00 in the library in meeting rooms 1, 2, and 3. I would like to take one more moment of your time, and in addition to this, I would like to emphasize the importance of not hiring a contractor on the spot that comes to your door. The Consumer Affairs Office has been receiving numerous complaints from our residents of contractors that come and tell them they need a new driveway or a new roof. We have some residents that are out as much as $8,000. Please, before you hire any one of these contractors, check their record with our office first. Do not sign anything. Think it over. Take the time to call us first. If you have any questions regarding the U.S. Home or the contractors that come to your home, please call the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening, and we'll see you again next week.
Throughout the month of May, photographs that celebrate the family of people will be on display at the library. The photos are part of the selection of entrants in a contest sponsored by the Friends and Neighbors Council and the Arts Commission.